Good evening, everyone. I'm Ayman Mohyeldin in New York. We are keeping a close eye on the coast of Florida, where NASA astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore just left the capsule after a successful splashdown. Williams and Wilmore, of course, were in space for 9 months, having to extend their stay there because of technical problems. We can now, as we all have seen within the last few minutes, able to report that they are here, safe and sound, back on Earth. We're going to continue to keep an eye out for any developments that come out of Florida and bring them to you throughout the course of the hour. But we begin this hour with, of course, today's high-stakes call between President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin regarding Trump's efforts to end Russia's war in Ukraine. Conversation lasted at least an hour and a half, during which Putin agreed to a partial ceasefire on energy infrastructure targets. And that, of course, is according to the readouts provided by the White House and the Kremlin. That development notably falls short of the proposed 30-day full pause in fighting that Trump had been pushing for. But the White House says that Trump and Putin did agree to begin technical negotiations over a broader maritime ceasefire in the Black Sea, and that those talks would begin immediately in the Middle East. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, for his part, responded to the news of this call late in the day, saying that he is open to the proposal, but hopes to speak with Trump soon about the details. Joining me now is Eugene Robinson, Washington Post columnist and MSNBC political analyst, Julia Ioffe, founding partner and Washington correspondent for Puck, and Nayyera Haq, former White House senior director and State Department senior advisor. It's great to have all three of you with us. Nayyera, I'll start with you. I mean, this was one of those situations where no reporters in the room. That's kind of expected. No reporters briefed on it immediately afterwards. All of the information that we have so far about this conversation coming from readout statements that have been provided by the White House and the Kremlin. Just give me your sense of the takeaways from these statements. Who do you think came out of this discussion better positioned, if you will, Trump or Putin?
Let's just start with the fact that an hour-and-a-half call with any foreign leader, let alone one who was an adversary just before inauguration, is highly unusual, let alone a ceasefire discussion where the United States is the one having conversations directly and not bringing both parties to the table. I will say that it looks like Vladimir Putin got quite a bit. If nothing else, he was able to show that the United States has direct access, rather Russia has direct access to the United States, right into the White House. These are longer calls than we've had with any of our other allies, certainly longer than any Canadian leader has had as of yet. And what we also know from Russian media is that this is being celebrated, this idea of a troika between the United States, Russia, and China. So this is setting a signal to the world stage that you can invade another country with impunity, continue to attack that other country, and still get high-level access to the United States and be able to further your own agenda of making it easier for you to use your maritime assets in the Black Sea.
You know, Eugene, for those of us who have been following Trump for some time and certainly follow a lot of his statements, he loves to use the language of threats, but noticeably absent from the White House statement today in terms of a possible punishment for Russia if they violate the agreement. There's no mention of that whatsoever. Why should Trump believe anything Putin says? Why give him so much leeway in this particular agreement?
Well, he shouldn't believe anything Putin says, except Putin didn't really say anything. I mean, what has Putin agreed to do? He has I guess, agreed to a pause on bombing Ukraine's energy infrastructure. But that's not what Trump wanted when he went into this discussion. He was trying to get a full ceasefire for 30 days. He didn't get that or anything like it. If this is the art of the deal, Trump gave away all the store basically before they started talking. So Putin is in a very strong position, and he appears to have given up close to nothing, as I can imagine. So I think big success for Putin. He's welcomed back into the community of nations after his brutal invasion, and he has given up none of his aims and none of his gains.
Yeah, and of course, Julia, we all remember, and today actually marks 11 years to the day that Vladimir Putin annexed Crimea in that war. back in 2014. Now there's some new reporting from Semafor that the Trump administration is actually considering recognizing Ukraine's Crimea region as part of Russian sovereign territory, as part of any future agreement to end Moscow's war on Kyiv, according to two people familiar with the matter. And also absent from these readouts are any signs of concessions from the Russians or what they're prepared to give up in order to end this war. Do you think there's any chance that wasn't discussed at all between Trump and Putin?
It sounds like, according to some of the reports coming out of Moscow late over there now, it sounds like a lot of this was discussed, that territory seized by Russia would be recognized as part of any end deal. I will say, by the way, Putin has already violated any potential ceasefire agreement. Again, it hasn't been signed, but within an hour of this call ending, Russian drones were hitting the capital, Kyiv, and Russian artillery took out the electricity in Slavyansk in eastern Ukraine. And now all of Ukraine is under basically bombardment from the Russian side. And this is after Putin said in the Kremlin readout that he gave a command to his military to stop these attacks. I will say, if you recall that first meeting in Jeddah a month ago, Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, when he was asked about the U.S. asked the American delegation, asked the Russian delegation, said, can you stop these attacks on civilian and energy infrastructure in Ukraine? And Lavrov said, we haven't been attacking them. What attacks on energy infrastructure in Ukraine? We've been hitting legitimate energy targets. And so I expect that at no point will Russia stop attacking these things. So basically, again, I think Trump just wants points on the board. He just wants a deal. He wants to be able to say that there's a deal. And the Russians very clearly see this, that this man will do anything just to get the headline. And in fact, over the last couple of months since Trump's inauguration, they've only been adding demands, whereas Ukraine has been taking them off the table to appease this administration. I think Putin, who made Trump wait for an hour for this phone call, is playing Trump like a fiddle, but we've known that. We've seen it happen the first go around, and it's happening again.